Welcome to the Video Creators Podcast. We help YouTube creators grow their audience and business with next-level tactics and strategies. Want to accelerate your channel's momentum, be more profitable, and change the lives of more people than ever before? You're in the right place. The Video Creators team has over a decade of experience providing YouTube strategy for brands like Disney, Warner Brothers, HBO, and even YouTube themselves. So far, our team is responsible for helping clients generate over 17 billion views on YouTube. And now, to help you, here's Tim, Lennon, and Delana.
Hello, creators. How are you guys? It's great to see you for another Video Creators Podcast episode where every Monday we have some longer form content just designed to help you guys move forward with your YouTube channels to make more money, to reach more people, and change more lives with the message that you're spreading through your content and through your business. And one of the ways that we've been trying to do that here on Video Creators for about 8 years now is with online community and membership, paid membership programs. We have had, I don't know, man. I have tried this every single way I know how to try. I've followed all the expert guidance and leadership and advice, and we've paid for consulting and joined other people's membership coaching programs. And so what I want to do today is, like, if you are one of those creators who either has a membership program or you're thinking about starting one, or yours isn't working very well or whatever, I think that we have found after launching and shutting down about 5 of these programs over the past 8 years, maybe 10 years actually, that there's some things here that I think would be helpful for you to think about in terms of what we've learned in our experience in doing all these. Now, let me say I'm not anti-membership. I'm not anti like any of these programs that you see out there, but I do think that that it may or may not make sense for everyone. And it really depends on your audience and your goals of what you're trying to accomplish. So let me explain what that means here. The very first membership program I started was a program we called Video Labs membership. So people would go through our Video Labs course, our 8-week training, and at the end of it, we would always, and I'm not exaggerating. It's like every single time at the end, the people who went through Video Labs would be like, "This was amazing. How do we keep going?" And for a while, my answer was like, "I don't know. Like, there really isn't a way for you to keep going." And so then they would often go off and create their own groups. And as far as I know, some of those groups from about 8 and 10 years ago are still meeting regularly today. And they would continue on their own, which I fully supported and loved. But after seeing that happen a few times, I'm like, there's clearly a need here that they want. And I wasn't looking at it just as like, here's a revenue opportunity for me. I was thinking there's a way for me to serve these people better, and they're looking for a way to be served in this way. So what if, like, instead of them going off and forming their own groups, which I'm totally fine with, like, I'd also encourage that and support that. What if there was another opportunity for them to do that here inside of Video Creators? And so we put together what I call the Video Labs membership program, which was a monthly fee. And for that monthly fee, you would get access to some additional content and trainings. You would also, I think it was a weekly or monthly, I don't remember, like live Zoom call. We'd get in together and do some Q&A, and we would do some additional trainings and resources and things like that for them every month. And I think we also had our own private Facebook group. That's right. That's what it was. And that worked okay. But after running that for about a year, I saw a very similar pattern happen, which was after people finished Video Labs, they were really excited, wanted to keep going, and about 18% of them, sometimes 20-some percent, would convert into the membership program, which I think was like a few $100s a year or something like that. And when inevitably what would happen is people would get into it, they would start taking advantage of it, and they would be really engaged for about the first 2, maybe 3 months. And then after that, they decided that like like they would I don't know what they decided. They just kind of fizzled out, and at the end there was not a single person who renewed their membership. And so I was like, okay, well, they said they want this, but like I guess this isn't the right thing or whatever. And so I shut that program down. Decided to launch a Patreon, and because one of the things I heard often from my audience was like that being a YouTube creator is lonely, and that they just want someone who understands them and can talk with them about things that they're experiencing and struggling with on their channel. They don't have anyone else in their life they can do that with, and so when they get together, like in our community, they just loved it that they could have those conversations and talk about those things, and so I launched Patreon with a lot of those types of community things as well. We tried integrating Discord. That didn't really get much traction, so I canceled that. We also tried doing some live Zoom calls and hangouts and social things, and we had a good, really solid core of people who were showing up consistently and regularly and taking advantage of everything. And by out of about, I don't remember how many patrons there were, 800 maybe, something like that at the time. We had about 20 people like regularly engaged. And so from a revenue standpoint, it wasn't bad, but from a time commitment standpoint and from like the people actually engaging in it, it was like, you know what? I don't feel like this still doesn't feel like it's serving people the best way possible. And it is profitable, but there just seems to be like a lot more like it feels like pushing a rope uphill. And when I looked at the churn rate of which is like how many people are subscribing, how long do they stay subscribed for, and how do they cancel, I got to a certain level with Patreon and it was just flat and wasn't growing anymore. And then it started slowly declining and declining and declining. And it wasn't like a huge decline, but it was like, everything I was trying to do to get this thing where it just wasn't working. And so it launched really well. But in the long run, I was putting a lot of time and energy and money into sustaining our Patreon community. And it felt like, there's got to be better ways I can serve them. And I know there are better ways I can serve them because I actually am doing it in other parts of the business that are doing really well and that are profitable and having a really tremendous impact. I wasn't seeing the impact other than like the 20 people who are really engaged. And so it was really hard to shut down Patreon, but I did it because I thought that, these 20 people who really love it, I'm glad that they love it, but there's got to be a better way to serve these people better. And one of the exercises I started doing in my business around that time was looking just purely from a mathematical standpoint, where is my time going and how much fruit or how much results or revenue, or however you want to call that, is coming out a result of that activity. And what I noticed is that there's some activities I do that don't require a whole lot of time and are immensely valuable, have a huge impact on creators and the people that we're working with in our business and outside of our business. And then there was like this other thing, like in that case, it was Patreon, where I was putting like over half of my hours every week into that thing. And it was like barely breaking even and declining, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it around. So I said, well, I gotta shut this down too. So I shut it down. And I tried other things too. YouTube memberships, very similar scenario happened there. Other memberships on my website. And then about a year and a half ago, we decided, we keep hearing from people that they love the community and the interactive part of Video Labs and the other things that we're doing. So and those programs like Video Labs and things, they have built-in coaching and stuff with us, but it's for a defined period of time, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, depending on the program, 3 months, depending on the program. So so we're constantly hearing people like, we love this, we want to keep going with this. And we're like, okay. So about a year and a half ago, I worked really hard on changing some things with our course called 30 Days to a Better YouTube Channel, which is our foundational level course for people who are trying to grow on YouTube and just frustrated with the amount of traction that they're not seeing on their channel. And they're trying to get more traction, but they just need a step-by-step, like literally do this, do that, in this order, this way, here you go. And then if you do every single one of these trainings and these exercises and assignments in 30 days, you will have a fundamentally better YouTube channel that is optimized and poised for growth. So that program was doing really well. And so we decided, well, let's add a community part to it where we can help coach some of these people through some of what they're doing there on their channel. They get access to us. They can post in this community, and they're only going to get access for 30 days for free. So there's plenty of time while they're going through the course, or they can get into this paid membership program for free for a free 30-day trial while they're going through 30 days to better YouTube channel. And me and my team and other strategists here will be there to support those people. And so we launched that as an upsell. After people bought 30 days to better YouTube channel, you could get into what we called the Growth Network. And for $47 a month, $47.99, I think, a month, there would be regular Q&A, like live Q&A sessions. There would be weekly challenges that we were doing. We were doing like social hours, just hanging out so people could connect on Zoom. We were doing live guest interviews with guest experts, and we were multiple times a week just posting in there with like engaging posts and polls and feedback and ideas, and we were doing our best to reply to every single comment that was popping up in there. And then when that got to be too much, we built a team of mentors that we believe in trust. They believe in trust because they've gone through our programs and they're fantastic people. And so people are getting lots of engagement from us and our team. And we were putting everything we knew into this community, how to do. And Lennon, he's moved on to do some other things to really focus on his business. But his full-time job here at Video Creators for a year was just the Growth Network, to make sure everyone who's in there got exactly what they needed, coaching them through everything, giving them feedback, providing ideas and titles, thumbnail feedback, and and everything. And we, even though I was like, this is hands down the most valuable expert-driven YouTube community that I have ever seen. Like, this isn't just like a Facebook group where sometimes you get a lot of people just pulling their ignorance together. This is like my team who's trained and certified and has tons of experience, and multiple people are all in there. Like, this is the most valuable experience that you could ever get as a YouTube creator from a membership program. And we were going way and above and beyond. And for some reason, we saw the same thing happen, which is like it launched with a bang, and the conversion rate was really high from Video Labs from 30 Days to Better YouTube channel into that Growth Network. The upsell converted at about 40% I think once it got as high as 50%, which is like half the people who saw the offer took us up on it for that free trial. And then we looked at the data. And it wasn't going well. It wasn't Lennon's fault. It wasn't anyone. It was just like, this is the same experience I have had with communities. Like, even though we're putting everything into it, I know and they've been trained and gone through other like membership courses and coaching programs and stuff. Like, everything we were doing it was right. It was correct. And it was like we were going way above and beyond what we thought we needed to be doing. And we're coached and trained, because most people are like, it's very simple. You just do this, that, and the other thing, and boom. And we're like, I don't know who you people are, but like, we are doing way more than that. And it is still not simple. And some people are like, well, you're doing too much. You got to back it down, because they feel like they can't take advantage of everything that you have there. And so we tried that too, and we got worse results. So, yeah, and not just in one program, in multiple different programs. We've tried all that stuff. And so what happened with the Growth Network is we saw that the same thing, like slowly it was declining. The conversion rate into the program was really high, so we knew the offer was strong. And same experience before. There was a really dedicated, active core group of people who just love this thing. And even though we had several hundred people in this program, and it was like the churn rate was really high, and the people converting from the free trial into the long-term paid membership past 3 months was really low. And so we were forced to kind of just be like, what the heck? Like, what are we doing wrong? And it took me, I'm kind of embarrassed to say it took me this long, but it did, I'll be honest here, is, I started thinking about how I teach business development to YouTube creators. And I was breaking a lot of my own rules. Some of those most foundational rules are you need to know what your audience wants, the value they actually want to consume from you. And then you need to sell that to them for 10x the value in a format they're willing to pay for. And so I guess not to throw myself under the bus too much, I thought I was listening to my audience and hearing like, Tim, we want a place where we can talk about this stuff. Tim, we want a place where we can access your team. Tim, we want a place where other people understand me and I can get feedback and ideas and things like from people who know they're talking about, people who've also been through these same programs and can come at this with a similar strategy and perspective as I'm coming at it with. And those are all legitimate things I heard. So that's why I was confused. Like, where is the disconnect? What is happening here? And after Lennon and I spent a lot of time talking about this, and he did a lot of surveys and interviews with people, every single person came to the Growth Network. He made a point to private message them and got into calls with lots of them, help them onboard, and get into the material and into the content, into the community and everything. What I found is, I should have seen this coming. It's the classic example of where your people might not know what they want, and they might say, this is what I want. And they might actually want that for a little while. But then other things they want more actually end up trumping the thing that they said they actually wanted. And so here's what happened with the Growth Network. To kind of give some context to this. It served some people really well. They really loved it. But even after we invested full-time hours into this thing every week, it didn't grow the way that we needed it to. People didn't stick around as long, maybe for a month or two, then leave. But the number of people who went past 3 months was very low. And so that was an indication to us that we can do better. We tweaked and modified the program over the year to try to make it better. And we tried all the different solutions, but never just found one that serves people to the capacity that we really wanted to serve them. And so we came to this conclusion that it was best to lay this thing to rest and call it a great experiment that we all really enjoyed, but that we should focus on other programs and services that were serving people at a really high level. And what we realized is there's the swing and the miss that we kept hitting is, although people said they want community and they wanted access to us and they want the value that's happened there, what they really want is two things that is what we discovered the hard way. One, what they really wanted, and they hadn't even identified this themselves, so I don't blame them for it's nobody's fault. But what they really wanted is, we want something that's going to, one, save us a lot of time. And this isn't everyone's audience, by the way. This is just our audience. I'm not saying this is true for anyone else other than us and the type of creators we have attracted. Is one, they wanted something that was going to just save them time. And engaging in a community to get value costs people time. The second thing that we learned that these people really, really wanted, and this was us reading between the lines and looking at all the common things people were saying and not saying in exit interviews and things like that, is and the exit surveys and the interviews, we legitimately did a lot of Zoom, 15-minute Zoom interviews with people who were leaving, but also the exit surveys that they got afterwards, which a high percentage of people filled out. The other thing they wanted is there needs to be a direct perceived benefit to me. And engaging in a community has an indirect benefit to me. And so not only does it not directly save me time, and I can't quickly make that correlation that, yes, engaging here and spending the 5 minutes to make this post, or even the 15 minutes to engage in other people's posts and respond to them, will somehow save me time. I don't even know exactly what the benefit is. So it made sense that people would be pretty engaged in the very beginning, and then slowly kind of fizzle off as other things were more clearly a higher benefit and to them and their efforts on YouTube. And the other thing we noticed is it kind of started feeling to a lot of our people engaging with the community was just another thing they had to do. Now it works really well for us inside of 8 weeks of video labs or 30 days of 30 days to Better YouTube channel, or in business labs, or in the action plan. those, which we don't really have a community element to action plan, but when it was a defined period of time, people could figure out how to stay engaged and how to make it work for 8 weeks, because there was a date on the calendar when this is all over and goes away, and you want to take full advantage of that until it goes away. But when it's ongoing for an undefined period of time, and there's no sense of completion to it. Like, we don't know when this is over. When have we completed this subscription? When have we gotten everything out of it that we know how to? That just made it harder for people to stick around. Or it also made it difficult for them to fully engage, because they knew it would be there the next month if they really wanted it to be. And after 3 months of that go by, they're like, you know what? I've engaged in this for 3 months, so I'm gonna cancel. And so the people who are in there were working hard on their channels, and they were the right people to be in there. But it was like, you know what? I think I just want to work harder on building my channel right now. That feels more important. It wasn't really saving them time, and didn't have a direct benefit to them. So after all that, we at the end of December, so last month, decided we're gonna close all of this down, and we refunded everyone's money for the month of December, just to make sure no one accidentally got overcharged for their time in there, and shut that whole thing down. So what did we do instead? Well, a couple things. Those are the things we learned people really want. And so because we had a clear idea, like now we understand what people really want, we decided to how do we lean hard into that thing? And one of the things among several things that we do really well here at Video Creators that serves people really, really well, and people get a lot of value out of, we tend to have better completion rates than normal in our online courses. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Some of the things we do intentionally and strategically inside the course material itself. Because when we sell something to someone, we're not satisfied if all that happens is they feel good about their transaction. We actually want people to take advantage of the thing you're paying for. We want it to produce the results for you that you want to see. We want you to use us and leverage. We want to feel good about the work that we're doing. We want to feel good about the way that we're spending our time and the way it supports our families when we do that. And when people just pay for a course and then it just sits there, I know it's ultimately, and I had several people tell me this. So Tim, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And I'm like, you're right. But I don't want to use that as a cop-out as a way to let myself off the hook for considering, is there a better way that I could help that horse drink when we get to the water? It's is there something else I could do that would help make it easier for them to actually take advantage and consume the full value of what they've paid for and actually get the results that they want? Because I believe that when people grow, their channels grow and their businesses grow around their channel, they're making more money, that they have the ability now to reach more people and change their lives with the content and the message that they're spreading and the business that they're growing, which is a business that ultimately revolves around solving a problem for somebody. And so the more problems we can help people solve for more people, the better, right? So the thing we lean into instead is our online courses have a higher than normal completion rate, and people are really satisfied with them and they get a lot of value out of them. And we have a lot more online courses that we've been wanting to build, but just haven't, because there's not a really clear place in the sales funnel to put them. And as you guys know, the muddier the sales funnel comes, the less likely that someone is to actually go through it. And then the too much friction for them to take the next step, or too much confusion, be like, which course do I need next or whatever. And plus, we're not really an online course business anymore. There's a lot of competition around that now of people who have launched and grown successful channels and then make their online course about here's how to grow on YouTube and things. And we're not really interested in playing in that space as much as we are in we actually want to work with people as clients and put our money where our mouth is and say when you work with us, there's no hiding behind generic material. And when your livelihood is on the line, the advice you get and the strategy you implement, it has to work, right? It's not these people aren't paying us just to get access to someone's good ideas that may or may not have been tested or proven. And we like putting ourselves on the line. And in fact, this is like, you see it right on our website now. Like, we tell people, we've gotten so good at helping people reach the goals they want on YouTube that we now tell them, if you follow our process and do everything that we instruct you and coach you to do for 3 months and don't hit your goal at the end of it, then we will work with you for free until you do. And we have not once had to deliver on that promise, because either one, they don't do what we do and they're like, yeah, I know, I didn't have time to do it or whatever, or they do it all and they hit their goal. So yeah, we feel really, really good about that. And so when it comes to like the training material, like a lot of our clients, they have a lot of common questions, and we're like, man, we could sit here and do an hour-long meeting with them and talk about it, but we could also like we could put this into an online course and help a lot more other people too, who can't maybe afford the services or don't have time to commit to what those types of agreements look like, or something like that. And so what we leaned into instead is like, what the people really do want from us is they do want access to expertise. And they want it in a way that feels like there's a direct benefit to them and that's going to save them time. And our online courses check both of those boxes. And so we have a lot of online courses, some that are just for our internal clients that we haven't yet really made public, others that we only launch like once or twice a year. No, just once a year. Black Friday is the only time we do those two. And we have tons of these guest expert interviews and trainings that we've done for the Growth Network and other places. And so we launched what we now are calling the Video Creators Academy, which is a monthly subscription for the same price, $47. Well, it's 99 cents cheaper now, $47 a month. And that was just because our platform using before required us to put a 99 on the end of the price for some reason. But $47 a month, and you get access to an entire library of content. Right now, there's 12 trainings and online courses in there, from everything about creating and launching online courses and making money with that, to growing a business around your channel, to monetization strategies, to setting up the right equipment and systems to make content creation scalable, to an online course I did with an acting coach on how to feel comfortable on camera and how to tell better stories. I'm just doing all these off the top of my head. There's how to live stream comfortably with a lot of personality. There's tons of them in there. Okay. And we've actually have 8 more that we're adding this month because we're like, oh, finally we have a place to put all these trainings and things that we've been making into this academy, where people pay a monthly fee for access to the to all the training. And so and then also, what we also learned is that people do want some feedback, though. They don't want to just be like, okay, I learned something, but what about this, Tim? And how does that work? And how do I respond to that? And like, how do I take this and apply it to my channel or whatever? And so we do have a monthly coaching thing as a part of that as well, where people submit questions and we will answer them every month and post those as in a growing, searchable, indexable library of questions that people can have access to get quicker answers, like a knowledge base to their questions as they work through a lot of that material. So we launched that only about a month ago, even privately. In fact, this is the first time even talking about it publicly. So if you're interested in checking it out, there's a link to it in the show notes below this video, and you can just go check it out, see if it's right for you or not. There's a 1-month free trial, so you can check it out risk-free and get on the inside and see what you think and keep going or not. Right? So we think that the academy, and I say we think because, says the guy who's done this 5 times unsuccessfully for the long term anyway. I think we are getting closer to understanding what our audience really wants. And so a couple lessons we've learned, and then I want to share with you another tool that we're using that has really helped us scale our revenue and the impact and how many people we work with, and has been a game changer for us. And it's a free tool too. But and they're not sponsoring. I'm just telling you this because I think it's really helpful for you to know. Yeah. So I learned a few things. One is it's really, 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 very, 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 really, very, put those 2 words together somehow, important that we understand not just what our audience tells us they want, but what they actually want, and to go a layer deeper into like, this is what I hear, but where is it? What is that coming out of? Where is that coming from? And if we solve that problem for them, what does that do for them? And two, like, don't be afraid to experiment and try things. I think sometimes we hold on to things too long and end up wasting a lot of time and energy and money and frustration on something that's ultimately, like, the data is showing and every effort you're putting into it is showing like this thing just might not be working. And that could apply to anything, to your YouTube channel. Like, I have a friend who has been posting a video almost daily for almost 10 years. And out of all that effort, he has about 20,000 YouTube subscribers. And I just want to go, dude, come on, like, try something else. It might be time for a pivot or to reevaluate the way you're delivering the value you want to deliver or something. So maybe we're not waiting that long, but how long is too long? That's the question, and for me, I felt like we gave each of these all that I knew how to give. And I didn't have any more ideas or solutions for how to improve it. And so I was like, all right, we're not going to keep spinning our wheels here. We're going to try something else. So I think the Academy scratches a lot of those itches. Now, in the process, and this is the other thing that comes when you shut something down, it forces you to sometimes find alternatives and try new things, rather than just getting stuck in the thing that's kind of working, and you're never really motivated to go find something that could work better, and thus you kind of get stuck in this thing that's just kind of mediocre, instead of what happened for us and stumbling across something that's actually great. So one of the problems that we were running into with our video labs, airing all of our dirty laundry, aren't I? But here we go. Hopefully this is helpful to you guys. One of the problems we were running into with video labs is a couple things. So the thing that makes videos really good is it's our advanced level YouTube training. So after you go through 30 days to about a YouTube channel, you've learned how to optimize your channel for growth, and everything is set up to go, and you're like, great. And we do talk in there a little bit how the algorithm works, so you understand why you're optimizing things the way you are, and some ideas to start infusing growth into your channel. But then Video Labs goes into in-depth about how the algorithm works and how to optimize your videos for homepage and for search discovery and for suggested traffic. And it goes into how do you really craft content that it hooks and engages people, and how to use your analytics to spot more opportunities for growth and to fix things that are holding you back and stuff like that. So it's our next level in-depth training that we do. And the issue was that it was our group coaching program. And so we had to limit it to 20 people, which on one hand sounds like a good sales tactic, Tim. There's like, you're limiting it to 20 people. Yeah, but there was we were almost always selling them out. And there's a lot of people who wanted to take advantage of it who couldn't, because there's a group coaching program. We're getting to a Zoom call every week, and we were talking, we were working through the assignments together live in that Zoom call. We were answering questions together live in that Zoom call, sometimes breaking out into breakout groups in the Zoom call to work on assignments and things together on our channels. And then so it required that everyone's schedule aligned and time zones worked out so that you could be in that call at that time every week for 8 weeks. And for some people, depending on their jobs, depending on their, what they got going on in their lives, depending on where they live in the world, that just wasn't feasible. And so it was difficult for a lot of those people to get into it. Plus the fact that limiting it to 20 people meant that there was a cap on how many of these that we could sell. And how many people we could serve inside of each one because of that live interaction of that Zoom call. And so as I was looking for other membership programs and looking for advice and ideas, I stumbled upon this program, this app. It's an app for iOS, Android, and Mac and Windows called Volley. And Volley is a program. It works very differently than any other community platform. I think of it this way. If you're familiar with Slack, I describe it as kind of like if you took Slack and merged it into Snapchat or Marco Polo or something like that. Asynchronous video chat is technically what it's called, is where you leave a video message. Someone else watches it, they leave a video message back, and then you go back and forth with video messages, right? So like that. And so they were building this platform originally for teams, virtual teams that are working online together, especially since the pandemic. So there's more human connection and interaction, but it also saves a lot of time because you're not typing all the time, and you are just talking instead. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I download the app and I play with it a little bit, and I had this epiphany moment playing with this. I was like, this allows us to exactly do what we want to do, which is to scale our group coaching program and serve people better at the same time. Like any of you who are business owner, like that's what you want to do, right? It's like, how do we serve people better and scale at the same time without a lot of additional resources needed to do that? And so when I was playing with Volley, I created. At the time, I was also launching a new the beta version of a new course called Business Labs, which is a just kind of like we do in Video Labs, but it's a process that's designed to help creators who are currently making 6 figures on YouTube grow and scale to 7 figures on YouTube. Mostly from a business development perspective. It's not an audience development course. It's a business development course around your channel on YouTube. And so I thought, well, let me try using Volley for our community platform and Business Labs. And I think what I can do is, since it's asynchronous video, we don't need to get into a Zoom meeting every week. How about we just use Volley instead, and instead of people kind of competing for attention inside of the Zoom meeting, what if instead everyone could get undivided attention from everyone, because they can just post their video question or their homework response or whatever when they have time, when they're working on it. And then I can come in once or twice a day and reply to all of those. And so in Volley, you can create different, you create a space, which is kind of like a workspace in Slack. That's like, so think of like we made one for us, a space for Business Labs. And then inside of Business Labs, we create several different channels, which would be like rooms that you can interact in. And so I made a different room, a different channel in there for introduce yourself, and a random off-topic one, and an announcements one where only I can post into that one, but everyone can see it there. And then I made a different channel for every section of the course as well. And then in the coursework, when they do the assignments or have questions, they report on those things as they're working through it inside Volley. And oh my gosh, it worked amazingly well. And what happened is, instead of having to limit Business Labs to only 20 people so that I have enough time to give everyone time and attention inside of a live call, instead we had almost 50 people in there. And it was still less time for me. And it wasn't because people weren't engaging. It was, I could serve people better. Everyone's time was used more efficiently because they would post their video. And all of us being creators, we were, used and comfortable being on camera, especially for our audience. And so it worked really, really well. And I thought, oh my gosh, like a couple of things that happened with Volley. One is, instead of serving 20 people, I could serve 50 people, almost 50 people by myself, and they still get the same value and experience they had before. Actually, they're getting a better experience than they had before, because there's more perceived connection with me as a facilitator and with each other, because it's not just like an online like group where people during the week while they're working through a course or just posting in this online group, like a Facebook group or something, where you don't really get to know people and their mannerisms and personalities. You're just getting to know like text that they write. And this was like kind of like face-to-face communication in some ways. And it also eliminated the need not only to have meetings, but that opened up let me say it this way. When it eliminated the need for us to have weekly meetings at a certain time, that unlocked the material for people to be able to join from any time zone with any schedule. And and work through it at their own pace, which when we were meeting in a Zoom call every week, that like kind of forced everyone to work through the material and get through it at the same time, which sounds good. But what ended up happening is within the course of 8 weeks, life is just going to happen at some point, and you're not going to get to that material, and you're going to fall behind. You're not going to get to that assignment, and then you're going to feel like you're just playing catch up for the rest of the time in that course. And that happened every single course with like half the people that were going through it every single time we ran video labs. And so now like there's a little more flexibility. There's still some accountability because I said I'm only going to be here in Volley for 2 months. So I give you plenty of time to work through the material and implement it. And I can coach you personally as you're working through it and have questions and want to implement things and stuff. But because people knew that like I was only going to be in there for 2 months, there was still like that scarcity part that still kind of helped them feel motivated to get through the material in a timely manner. And so after my experience there, I was like, you know what? I think there's an opportunity here for us to try this with other things. How about with our one-on-one coaching clients that we do in our action plan? And so what we're doing, we're going to be trying now with them is like most people don't really get the value of Volley until they experience it. And then so when people first come on as a client for our first initial 3 months, we're still going to be doing the Zoom calls, but they're still going to get access to that strategist in Volley. And then we are predicting, and we're already testing with a couple clients, and it's working very well, that after they start getting used to using Volley to interact with us and ask questions and get feedback and things from their strategists, that they're probably going to be like, I don't really need Zoom calls anymore. And we're like, we know it was just hard to get you to pay for that upfront, like without Zoom calls, right? So, and it reduces the amount of email that they're doing. And so instead of them spending time in front of their inbox, reading emails from their clients, taking the time to email and write back, it's just like an ongoing conversation. And so instead of spending 10, 15 minutes composing an email, it's about 2 minutes just to reply back in a video format that they get instantly and can reply back to. And it's a higher perceived value because the human connection is so much higher. And it feels like personalized attention, not like support desk type of thing, right? And so they've been really satisfied with it. And so I really think that we are going to be diving deep into Volley because it helps us save time and it helps our clients and our customers and the creators we're working with save time, which is what they really, really want. And then 2, there's absolutely a direct benefit to them because the amount of time it takes to communicate and get the feedback you want and the ideas you want feedback on and to work with in a client situation and even in a group coaching situation is so much faster and so much more personalized and so much more unique that to the person, it feels like this is absolutely a direct benefit to me. And so we have found that Volley is like really good in 3 different situations. Number 1, if you are an educator like we are, and you're running online courses and you want a more scalable way to help more people, but also in a deeper, better way, than just text, in a way that feels more like a connection that the people are developing with each other and with you. Volley is hands down like the best thing. Now it does take some coaching to help people get into it very quickly. I found that you really need to help people feel very confident and comfortable very quickly. But if you're a coach like or an expert or an educator or something like that, then I think Volley is worth considering. And I'm not sponsored by this. They do know I'm talking about them because I talked with them a little bit about this beforehand. But I volunteered to do this, okay, because I think it's just that valuable for you. And they did offer to sponsor it, and I said no. I think I just want to when I believe in something, I'm just going to talk about it. And then number 2. If you are an influencer, maybe you're more in the entertainment spectrum of things. Maybe you've probably already been in this content by now because this may not or may not pertain to you as much. But I found it it's a really good way to engage with your community, for you to give them access to each other, kind of similarly to Discord, but in a way that people can engage more on their own time and their own schedule, rather than having to be at something live at the same time in order to have that experience. And Three, really good if you are doing something like we're doing with client services. You're an expert, you're an agency, and you are working with clients, and you really want to reduce the amount of time you're spending in email, and while also improving the amount of attention that your clients feel like they're getting from you and personalized attention. I think Volley's great for that situation as well. So I want to give you guys access to me on Volley for 2 weeks, and I talked with one of the co-founders of Volley about this. Turns out he's a video creators fan himself, which I was totally blown away, surprised by. He's like, yeah, Tim, I used to grow a YouTube channel and watch you all the time. I'm surprised you're here. Like, welcome. And I was like, oh my goodness, great. So anyway, he is a former YouTube creator himself, and so his name's Josh. So Josh and I have created a little mini course for you completely for free inside of a Volley space that we're inviting you to for free. Just to come check it out, interact with me and Josh, ask questions, see what it's like. That little free mini course is in there where Josh and I go back and forth on how to really leverage Volley as an educator, as an influencer, and as like a coach or someone who's working with clients, and as well as the process that I've figured out after using Volley for a little bit that really helps your people onboard really quickly and easily with making them feel comfortable and making them feel confident about using the platform. And because the sooner you get that, they feel that way, the more they're going to engage and really get the full value out of it. And so, yeah, there's a link in the show notes of this episode. It's a long link, so I can't say it for you verbally. You're just going to have to go to the show notes and tap on it or click on it, depending on where you're listening or watching this. And it's completely free. You'll have to create a free Volley account, and then you'll be, boom, right into our Volley space with me. And I'm going to be in there until the end of the month, until January 31st, and Josh will be too, and just interacting with you. And by interacting with you, I don't mean like just announcing things once in a while. I mean, like, I want to hear your ideas and I want to interact with you on them. And I want to hear what you're thinking and what your experience and ideas you have for how to make Volley even better. And I have no stake in this thing. I am just like, this thing is working really, really well for us. It's allowing us to serve almost twice as many people with the same personnel and less time and really high. And so, yeah, I'm just really excited about this platform. And so when I think about what we've been learning about launching, growing, and shutting down paid membership, I think part of it is that the platform really needs to be aligned with the value that you're trying to deliver in a way that's sustainable for you and your audience. And for us, I think Volley is going to be something pretty close to that. That's going to be an integral part. Even how I communicate now. I use Slack less, and I instead with my personal assistant with Caitlin. We used to meet, have our one-on-one conversation for an hour every Tuesday, where we go over like schedules and email responses and projects that we're working on and things. And instead now with Volley, we just do that communication a lot more quickly and naturally through the week. And instead of our meetings being 1 hour, creeping into 2 hours, now we're meeting for like 15, 20 minutes sometimes. And we're like, okay, we're good. We already took care of everything else in more real time with Volley. So sounds like I'm just fangirling over it, and maybe I am, but I really do believe in it. And I honestly just kind of want to interact with you guys and hear what you think about it as well, and hear your responses and ideas and stories, and see how it works for you guys. So click that link in the show notes of this episode. Jump into Volley, completely free. Experience it with me and with Josh in there, and we just want to hear from you and learn from you and hear what your impressions are as well, and as well as give you access to that free course that we're giving you in there about how you can best leverage Volley to really further and grow your audience, but also grow your revenue, depending on how you plan to monetize this. And we do talk about monetizing it, and I go into more details about how I monetize Volley now as well. So all that's in there. So tap that link down in the show notes and go check it out. So I feel like that's a high overview of what I've been learning about growing, launching, and shutting down paid memberships. I am really looking forward to hearing from you guys. As always, there's another link in the show notes. If I don't want to have too many call to actions here, but there's another link down there where if you want to leave me a voice message, you can do so. And I love to answer those and talk about your ideas and your responses to this in future episodes, because I do learn from you guys all the time. When you email me, when you reach out, you guys have been so valuable for me. I really appreciate the insights that you and the experiences that you have shared with me, experiences I will never have, but I get to glean from because you have been sharing those. So thank you so much for doing that. And thank you guys so much for being part of this video creators community. Thank you for giving me the freedom to experiment and try things and fail at things and do other things better and then discover amazing things and be like, oh my God, thank you for everything you guys have been doing for me. And not only for the feedback, but just allowing me to have the freedom to do these things. And I really appreciate you guys being a part of this journey with me. So thanks for being here. And I think next week we'll get back on track with some of our normal episodes. Delana and I will be here, and we may or may not have guests joining us to replace Lennon, who's gone, but we're really excited for him. So thank you guys for being here, and I will see you guys again next week for another Video Creators episode. See you guys then. Bye.